Right, ASA has been out for almost over half a year, and I decided why not in today's video just explain my thoughts on ASA, just my general opinions, and just to see maybe is it worth it over 6 months after its release. Let's just say ASA did not release in the best state, only really having the island maps. Fast Travel Time was available free at the time. Now I think you have to pay either 5 or 10 quid for it. Can't quite remember, but that was a little bit nice that you'd have another map to play on, but most obviously did just stick to the island, including myself. I did play a little bit, but I wasn't so invigorated by the map as others were, and this map really did not release in the best of states. There were glitches and bugs like 2015 Ark all over again, even though the devs had promised a more stable, better running version of the game, which just simply wasn't delivered. But nowadays it is looking a little bit better, although all of the floating rocks found and just generally being present ever since the game released are still here. The game certainly does run a lot better, and with mods like FSR 3 for all cards that do support just any kind of DLSS or vice versa, you could actually enable frame generation without needing a 40,000 series card and still get all of the performance benefits, which I have done on my 3090. And it's crazy the 3090 still can't run this game with 60 frames per second at like medium high settings at 1440p in ASA. Okay, the 3090 is a pretty high spec GPU, not to blow my own trumpet here, but it is one which really does get a lot of performance in games. And in Ark I can max that thing out at 1440p and easily get 60. I need frame generation though in ASA to even touch that, and sometimes I still drop a little bit below it, although that is a lot less common. Still, you know, the game does run very nicely for me now with that frame generation actually being used with the FSR mod, but otherwise I simply would not be able to get those kind of frames, and before I knew about the mod I just had to deal with the somewhat subpar performance. Obviously Scorched Earth has released on ASA now too, and that really has helped a lot of things out. Bob's Tall Tales has been around too. I have listed my opinions on that in another video. I've relaxed them slightly, but still it's probably not worth it for the 25 quid asking price. Either way, if you still want to get it and support the game, you definitely can. I'm not going to stop you. I have, so you know, an example I'm showing there. But as an Ark channel, I do just tend to buy all the Ark content when it comes out. That's sort of just what I do. The videos will pay for everything anyway. But you know, Scorched Earth released in a much better state than the island, and obviously it's a somewhat recent addition to ASA. It has definitely changed it for the better. There's just a lot more going on now, and you know, it's just a nicer experience to sit through in Ark. It's just been a little bit worse as per se when it was just the island really out and official. The Scorched Earth map had a lot of diversity, and obviously it did release for free as well, not including all the Bob's Tall Tales stuff of course, but that is again besides the point. The game did release this map for free, apart from the price of the game of course, but that could be expected with any real release these days. The Oasis Vault was also locked behind Bob's Tall Tales, which is a little bit of a shame and definitely was too many, but still it is quite a nice creature, and if you get it you'll definitely enjoy it for the 24 hours that you'll have it, because I'm confident it's only 24-hour creature. I don't quite see the point in that. I know it's so they're not too overpowered, but still, you know, you might as well just keep them for the whole time. Obviously you can just enable that setting and they will actually feed, and then the hunger timer thing won't do its thing, and you can keep those things forever, but on most servers that probably isn't the case. The Facelsukas also came about, and that is a really nice creature. That was free with Scorched Earth of course. It adds a completely new dimension to that map. I love that creature. It is honestly one of the best. So is the Gigantoraptor as well. That has been a really nice addition too. And obviously the Rhinogonatha, although yes, not a creature releasing on ASA, is still sort of a ASA creature, if you will. I know the B-rolls just switched over to Ark Survival Evolved. That was just for a little bit of point of comparison, because now I want to talk about the graphical differences. If you couldn't tell already, Ark Survival Evolved is looking a lot more kind of aged now that ASA has come out, and everything's sort of been reimagined. If you take the performance though and all of that and all the bugs, then maybe Survival Evolved is looking a lot better in that aspect. But in terms of looks and like all the LODs and not really the models, all the models are pretty much the same for the dinos, but all the foliage and the foliage movement, it is so much nicer and cleaner than Ark Survival Evolved could ever dream of getting it, and that is the one kind of big benefit of ASA. It looks absolutely gorgeous compared to Ark Survival Evolved. Not saying Ark Survival Evolved looks bad though. I have heard a few people saying Ark Survival Evolved just looks really ugly, but they were talking about the Switch version, and I can't really say anything about that, as that does kind of look like a muddy mess. Whereas the PC version of the game still, in my opinion, looks like quite a nice game. Yes, it came out in 2015, but it's had a sort of remastering as the game has gone on, and it's looked more impressive as things went on, and the later maps look a lot more impressive than the earlier ones, of course, as they've been built in more recent times, and that really does add the elements to the game. It still is obviously where you're going to find all of those maps. ASA has definitely got a long way to go in terms of getting all the Ark DLCs, so if you want to actually complete all that story available at the moment, you're gonna just have to play everything on Survival Evolved, or maybe the first 2 maps on Survival Ascended and all the rest on Survival Evolved. But if I did still have to choose one game, it would be Survival Evolved. Although Survival Ascended is a really nice, gorgeous looking game, and it's still a work in progress, that is probably the main reason why I would choose Survival Evolved. It is like a finished game now. They've essentially stopped developing for it, and that is it in its final form as a sense. Also, I find some of the mods that you can find on Survival Evolved and the integration of those mods is just a little bit nicer for PC, but for consoles, ASA is a literal dream as mods are accessible at your doorsteps. I do like that the mods are also all free on Survival Evolved. You do have to pay for some of them on Survival Ascended, but I don't really have too much against that, and I'm not going to argue that paid mods shouldn't be a thing, as mod creators do definitely deserve a lot of respect for everything that they do and make. Come on, they do spend a lot of time making and developing mods for this game. They do deserve all of the respect that they can possibly get for making these mods with really high standards and us really enjoying them. So it is definitely a good thing that mods are paid for now, but it still is a little bit of a shame in my opinion. The thing is with ASA though, the performance and just all of the lack of content means I can't quite recommend it as much as Survival Evolved, although if you're looking to get into it, it is in a much better state now than it obviously was 6 months ago.